Russia is clamping down on news and the internet. Overseas media organizations and activists are finding new ways in. Here's more.
To keep citizens in Russia from receiving uncensored news about his invasion of Ukraine, President Vladimir Putin has blocked most independent media in the country. Experts believe the crackdown on the free flow of information will only worsen. But does it mean Russian citizens will have no access to balanced news? Well, not quite. Internet circumvention tools help audiences bypass censored information and access websites and news sources that are officially blocked. Here are some of the most popular and effective ones today. Virtual Private Network, or VPN, is arguably the most widely used circumvention tool. It works by creating a private tunnel between the user's computer and the internet that disguises the user's IP address and prevents others from seeing their web browsing or downloaded content. Because the information in the tunnel is encrypted, neither the internet service provider nor the government can monitor it. Just make sure to use a VPN that has been vetted by experts. That likely will rule out a free VPN provider that makes money by selling its clients' data to third parties like a government. Another easy way to circumvent state internet censorship is to use the free internet browser Tor, which stands for the Onion Router, because it creates layers and layers of encryption around the content you send and receive. Tor makes it impossible for the authorities to distinguish between permitted and prohibited websites that you visit. The websites also have no way to identify the user. VPN and Tor operate in different fashions. While a VPN encrypts and directs your data using a centralized network of servers, Tor is a decentralized tool operated by volunteers. But what if an authoritarian government completely cuts users off from the outside internet? Well, there is always the satellite internet. It's a technology that has been around for decades. Essentially, it beams data not through cables but from radio signals traveling through space. It involves stations on the ground that broadcast the signals to satellites in orbit, which are later relayed back to users on Earth. The largest constellation of such satellites today, around 2,000, is operated by Elon Musk's Starlink project. Customers can access the network using a kit sold by its parent company SpaceX. The kit contains a small satellite dish with mounting tripod, a Wi-Fi router, cables, and a power supply. Now there is also, of course, the shortwave radio. Popular during the Cold War, this type of communication is one of the cheapest and most effective ways of relaying information around the world. Shortwave broadcasts can easily be transmitted over a distance of several thousand kilometers from a single transmitter. The radio receivers are usually quite affordable and can be found at most electronics stores around the globe. With the advent of the internet, the audience for these broadcasts has dwindled in most regions of the world. But as experts note, a new wave of censorship in some countries could help revive the technology for a new generation. There are also some circumvention tools that emerged right after the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. One of them was developed by a group of Polish hacktivists called Squad 303, who broke into and then downloaded a database of nearly 140 million Russian email addresses and 20 million cell phone numbers. It later set up a website that randomly generates phone numbers and email addresses from that Russian database. The idea is simple. Anybody in Russia or around the world can go on the website and start calling, emailing, or texting complete strangers in Russia and talking to them about the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine. The founders of the project say millions of Russians do not know the truth about the causes of the war and that the world needs to convey that information to them.
Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi warned that Israel will be targeted by his country's armed forces if it makes the tiniest move against Iran. He spoke as talks stalled in Vienna over a deal to rein in Iran's nuclear capabilities, which Tehran says are used for peaceful purposes. Israel opposes a deal, saying it does not do enough to curb Iran's nuclear program or its military activities across the region. Israeli officials have said they will unilaterally do what is necessary to protect their country. Raisi addressed Israel directly during a speech at an annual parade of Iran's armed forces. Raisi did not elaborate, but says Iran watches any move by Israel closely. Iran has not recognized Israel since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. that ousted the pro-West monarchy and brought Islamists to power. It supports anti-Israeli militant groups such as Hamas and Hezbollah. Raisi says Iran's military power is a deterrent, adding that the army managed to improve its capabilities despite years of sanctions in the country over Tehran's nuclear program. Monday's parade showcased jet fighters, helicopters, drones, and air defense systems, as well as military tanks, missiles, and naval vessels.